Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to tell you about some really cool collaborations and events that have gone down in the past month. I'm also going to share a really exciting channel update that I've been wanting to share for a bit, and I can't wait to let you know about that. I'm going to show you my favorite games that I've played this month, as well as show you all the games that have come into the studio this month. Spoiler, there are a lot of them, like an embarrassing amount. I'm also going to shout out a couple content creators who've been really important for me in this past month. And last but not least, I've been trying to be a bit introspective lately, and there's something been on my mind that I've been thinking through and kind of a life lesson I've been processing through. I want to share it with you. I like sharing about my life with you all, but also hopefully it's helpful for you, especially if you're a convention goer or whatever. Anyways, stick around for that. I'm going to save that for the end and talk about the creators at the end. First of all, coming from in the studio today because it's raining outside. Also, I'm coming to you in the middle of July with the June update because, well, there's a good reason. I'll let you know in a little bit when that makes sense. So stick around for that. And let me know in the comments, by the way, what's been in June, what's been some of the top games that you've been playing or an exciting gaming moment for you. So first of all, let's talk about some of the collaborations that have gone down this past month. I got to be on a couple different podcasts. I got to be on Tabletop Submarine with Zazu X2 and Andrew Styles. Andrew Styles is an incredible designer. Zazu's such a bro. And we just talked through Origins, and we got to talk about what we experienced, what we saw, the highs, the lows, all kinds of cool stuff like that. I also got to go on a podcast that's based out of Eastern Canada called Current Plays. We spent the whole podcast episode talking about the Anarchy from Garfield Games, which is a game that I absolutely love. Both of those you should be able to find if you go on my social media. If not, send me a message if you want to hear them. But you can look up Current Plays podcast and also Tabletop Submarine. And as far as collaborations go, I got to team up with two different companies on their Kickstarter previews, Chemical Overload with their new expansion from Rebirth Games, and also Die in the Dungeon from Rumi's Games. And both of those Kickstarter campaigns were quite successful. The Die in the Dungeon one kind of blew up. It was crazy. So those were also really cool to be part of. And the last collaboration was with Neon Gorilla. Neon Gorilla, David has become such a cool friend and supporter, and he's been so helpful to me. I ask him lots of questions. He's very helpful. But we did two collaboration things. Actually, one was we did a top 10 pet peeves video, top 10 pet peeves in board games, where we counted that down. You can see half on his channel, half on my channel. And also, and as I talk about videos in this video, there might be some cards that pop up if I remember to do them. And you can only use 5, so if I don't run out, but you could go check that out. And then also at the end of the month, right after Origins, him and Reggie and I hopped on, and this one's just on Neon Gorilla, and we did this Cardboard Takes episode. It's his first Cardboard Takes episode, and we talked about Origins, kind of the good, the bad, the ugly, and it was really cool. Speaking of Origins, I definitely went to Origins. I'll talk to you about that in just a second. First, the one other cool event in June was I drove down to Bellingham, which is not very far from where I live, about 50 minutes. And as long as the border crossing goes well, which it did, which was awesome. And I went to the Grant Line comedy show that was in Cosmic Games down there. Grant, I've kind of just known in passing a little bit, but it was a really cool, like his show is awesome, so that was fun, but it was a really cool opportunity to get to connect with him. And since this is a monthly update, I'll leave that alone because in July now I've spent a bunch of time with him, and he's an awesome dude. Anyways, if you don't know Grant Line, definitely go check him out. And in my next monthly episode, I'll be talking about him for sure, some more. And obviously, June, I went to Origins, this huge board game convention. It was an awesome time. I may or may not make a video all about it. I feel like, between Tabletop Submarine and Neon Gorilla's channel, I've talked about it quite a bit, but we'll see. Maybe I'll package it together with another convention or something like that. But one of the cool things, and this is like hard to talk about with like, I want to not sound full of myself while I talk about this, but it's hard to talk about really exciting things about your channel without feeling like you're bragging sometimes. I'm really not. If anything, it's something that's like surprising me. I've been constantly surprised and grateful by some of the exciting, cool things going on with the channel. And one thing that was just wild for me at Origins this year was, last year I went for my first time. I was brand new working with the Game Boy Geek, and I had a few people, maybe a dozen people be like, "Hey, aren't you the guy from the Game Boy Geek?" And I was only a month and a half in there at the Game Boy Geek, and I was surprised by that last year. I was like, wow, I'm texting my wife. I'm like, oh, someone like recognized me from the video or whatever. This year I was blown away by how much it happened. Actually, I got off the airport, got off the airport. I was never on the airport. That was crazy. I got off my plane at the airport, walked across to where the Uber picks you up, and right away this guy there was like, "Hey, you're the guy from How I Roll, right? I was like, oh, it's very lucky, cool start. Then immediately I saw my friends from Garage Games, and just it started off with like a few instances of that. But at the convention, I was just kind of amazed by how the internet works, and lots of people have become aware of my content. I did some videos about the Origin preview list, and I got a lot of feedback from people that they watched that. It was helpful to them. And again, I don't share that with you to be like, oh, look at, like I'm getting recognized, but it's just, I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very excited about how the channel's going. And I feel surprised that it's been getting some of the traction and momentum, and it's still new, still smaller, still growing, but I've been very grateful for that. And in that, I want to say to you, thank you so much, because it's not, regardless of how good or bad of a video I put out, it's built by people like you, hopping on and being part of it and engaging, leaving a comment, sharing it with other people, and helping build this channel together. We're all in this together, and so I'm very grateful for that. Speaking of which, here's the really exciting channel update. I have mentioned in the last couple updates in a few places that I'm planning on launching a Patreon. Now, lots of channels have Patreons and all of that, but I'm actually really excited. I've been kind of thinking about it for a while and been excited about the proposition and the idea. But as I've been working on it, and I've built the page and I've built the Discord. Well, I actually had someone help me build the Discord, which I'm very grateful for. But I've got that kind of built and just fine tuning it before we launch it. We're going to launch it in mid-August. One of the things that I've really been zeroing in on and thinking about is, with the Patreon, obviously it's an opportunity to make a channel like mine sustainable. It's hard for this to be financially sustainable. So it's an opportunity for people to support if they believe in it, to buy in and say, hey, you know what, we're going to support, we're going to make this happen and be part of the team. But that's really what I've been thinking about. As I've been putting it together, I've constantly been asking myself, how can I make this like a value proposition that's built around community and fostering connection and relationships, so that it's not just Ryan doing How I Roll and people are financially supporting, but it's something where people are like, I'm part of the How I Roll community. I'm part of the team. I hope that, as we've been building the Discord, one of the big questions I've had is like, how do I ensure that people are actually engaging and connecting? And are there spaces to create opportunities to foster community or relationships, and in hopes that people might, kind of connect on there and be like, hey, let's play a game on Board Game Arena together, or those types of things. So I'm very excited about that. Mid-August, I'm going to be kicking off my Patreon. I would be so incredibly grateful if you would think about being part of my Patreon, partially to help make this thing financially sustainable and help me use this channel to put food on the table and pay rent, but largely to be part of this collaborative community where we can connect and we can like share the joy of board gaming, and we can engage together, and you can be a part of this. You can be a part of the voice that shapes where How I Roll goes in the future. So that's a really exciting channel update, mid-August. Look for that. Obviously, I'm going to be posting about that and letting people know about that. If you have questions, suggestions, ideas, whatever, let me know. Anyways, let's talk about games. So this month I played a lot of games, partially because I was at Origins, but also because I like to play games. But I want to share with you 4 games that really stood out to me that were awesome. And the first one over here is Rainbow Boulevard. Now, this game's not out yet. I'm actually just about to film a Kickstarter preview for it. This game is from Steel Wing Games, and that's run by my buddy Scott Morris, who is part of Lucky Duck Games. Now, I've seen this game around for a bit. He had it at Dice Tower West. He was showing it off. It looked really cool. It's got these really cool, like 3D plastic rainbow pieces and all these different colors that you can build all over the board, all over the map. And it just looked cool when I saw it, but I hadn't had a chance to play it. And now at Origins on my very first day, he busted it out and I played it with him and some other friends, Eric from Rolling with the Beard and some other folks, and it's awesome. So I'm really excited to make a video about that. In the next couple of weeks, that video will come out. You can check it out. This one I've had around for a while. I got to play this at last year at Origins at the Asmodee event. It was like a advanced copy we got to play, and right away I was like, The Hobbit, they're back again. I was like, this game slaps. Like, this game is awesome. But then Asmodee sent me a copy, and my friend and I got to play through a couple chapters or scenarios or whatever they're called in this, and I kind of hadn't played it in a little bit. I forgot just how cool this game is. So if you haven't played this, it's so cool. It has like 7 or 8 chapters or something like that, and each one is really like fairly different from each other. I'm surprised by how much variety there is. And the next game, I'm not going to move because I don't own it, because practically no one in the world does own it, and that is Rosalie from Uchibakoya, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Games. On Friday night at Origins, Jay Bernardo from Cardboard East and Jason Levine from the Dice Tower and I got together, and Jay had an advanced copy of Rosalie, and we played it. And I don't have it here, but I'll throw some images up on the screen or the Board Game Geek page. Oh my goodness, that game like checked all the boxes. It was an incredible experience, and I loved it, and I can't wait to play it again. We were so exhausted playing that game, but it was just, yeah, it was, we spent 3.5 hours playing it. It was absolutely brilliant. And then this month I got to get in. I'm so often playing so many new games that I don't get to play games that I've owned for a while that I love. But Gaia Project, one of my favorite games of all time, at my weekly board game group, we got together and we played this with the expansion. The expansion, The Lost Fleet, is such a good expansion. Like I'd almost never want to play without it, except, you know, if I was teaching someone, maybe I would. But this Gaia Project is just one of the best games ever made, and it is pretty awesome. So those are some of my top games that I've played this month. Let me know in the comments some of the top games you've played. And now let's hop over to the table and take a look at all the games that have come in this month. Tell me you have a board game addiction without telling me you have a board game addiction. Okay, I admit, this is a little bit insane. Now, for a bit of context, which it doesn't totally justify it all, this is everything that's come in naturally, like kind of would be coming to my house anyways, plus my Origins haul. And that's the reason that I referenced earlier that this video is coming out late, is when I go to Origins, you know, I get a pile of games. I always take some crazy red-eye overnight connecting in the middle of the night flight, so it's pretty hard or almost impossible for me to bring the games back with me. So my really good friends Shane and Lance over at Gray Fox, who are some of the coolest dudes if you haven't gotten to meet them, they let me put my games at their table, then they drive them back to their warehouse and they ship them to me. It just took a bit to get to me this time, and so that's why I'm bringing this video too late. This is a lot of games, and if you watch my channel, you're probably like, well, Ryan, I don't see you do this many videos on this many specific games, and that's true. And I want you to know that I work really hard to be very upfront and transparent and candid with publishers. So whenever a publisher is like, hey, you want to check out this game, I'm very clear about what is or isn't possible. Some publishers hired me for paid gigs to do some how to plays or whatever. Obviously those get scheduled in and guaranteed and all that. But anything else, nowadays I just tell publishers, I say, hey, I'm really excited about games. I'd love to check it out. Right now, my backlog looks like this or whatever, so I can't guarantee it'll be in my monthly update. And most publishers are just really chill. They're like, hey, listen, enjoy the game, and if you have a chance to specifically cover it, great. If not, then that's okay too. And I really appreciate that because it takes some of the pressure off me. But also, I think one thing that's true is I think publishers know that content creators like me, and lots of people, content creators like me, like I've been on a couple podcasts this past month, do top 10 lists. I go to board gaming events around me, different conventions. I was just at RageCon. I took a pile of games that publishers had sent me that's hosting there. So there's a lot of off-screen or not specific, like, oh, I did this review on this video game, on this game video that happens. And so anyways, here are the games that come this month, and I'm going to try to give you a rundown really quickly. So first of all, you might know this game. It's called Two Rooms and a Boom. It's a pretty big classic by this guy named Alan Girding. And I got to meet him at Origins, and can I just say he's one of the coolest dudes ever. So these are Tuesday night games. He's got these two new ones called Werewolf in the Dark that I've never played, and That's Not Lemonade. Just super, oh, those are out of the shot. Super fun games. He signed the 3 of them, and I'm excited. Two Rooms and a Boom is kind of a classic big group social deduction game. We're on these teams. It's just a pure fun game. So Werewolf in the Dark, Two Rooms and a Boom, and That's Not Lemonade from Tuesday Night Games. Usually I try to keep things on screen, but I'm gonna have to make some space. I went to the Asmodee event. I should have put these together for content creators, and they gave me a bag of games. So this one's called Ghost Galore. I know this one because I've been playing on Board Game Arena. If you're on Board Game Arena, feel free to send me an invite to play this game with me. It is a really cool little, like pretty light, but tile laying game where you're aligning these monsters and these paths throughout this cave. And yeah, it's neat. I've been playing on Board Game Arena, and then they hooked me up with this, and I'm pretty pumped to own it in real life. Also at that Asmodee event, see if I can combine these together. They gave me all-in predictions from Paul Walker Harding and Phil Walker Harding. Sorry, I messed up his name. I haven't played this game, but at Canada Plays, I saw some other content creators playing it. And it's this like shared group of cards in the middle, and you're trying to make the best poker hand, and you're kind of putting cards back in and taking cards out. Some really cool games from Asmodee. I'll come back to those. Here's something that's pretty different and unique. I met this girl named Claire, and she came up to me at Origins, and she's like, hey, I've been watching your videos, love your stuff. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. And she told me she had this booth where she makes these logic puzzle and like crossword books. It's all these different types of puzzles. I'll try to give you a picture of some. I don't know if you've ever done these grid type logic puzzles. I absolutely love logic puzzles. I know it's pretty geeky and nerdy. I love that. I actually brought this home from Origins with me, but I knew I was going to show it in this monthly update video, so I haven't drawn it yet. So I'm really excited to do this. She makes all these cool books like this. It's called Themes, Cozy Crafts, Bakes, and Textiles. I guess she makes a bunch of other stuff, but her name's Claire Mercer. She makes these cool logic puzzle books. You can find her on Instagram and probably other places online. These guys, I don't think they're necessarily directly affiliated with each other, but they were at the same booth working together, teaming up. This is Pocket Parks, which is made by a guy named Jason that I just met at Origins. And it's just really, I love these little tiny box games. This tin is really cool. But it's this kind of cool game just built around different national parks and exploring them. And I'm actually going to be doing a Rip Up the Rules video for this one, so you can be looking out for that. But just a really cool indie publisher hooked me up with this. They're called Pocket Games. You can easily find them online. I know on Instagram for sure. I have this one upside down. Zach Sullivan made 14ers. I didn't know what 14ers meant, but apparently it's these, hopefully I don't mess this up, but like a series of mountains in Colorado. And again, it's kind of like Pocket Parks, where it's just got these cool cards with neat, like nature-based artwork on it. I don't know the whole setup of this game, but you're going around and climbing and exploring these mountains, and it's really cool. Next, my good friends over at Bezier Games. I love Bezier Games. On my Origins top 10 played games, or no, top 10 anticipated games, I had put Zombie Princess. And so I was very delighted to be given a copy of Zombie Princess. I love Rebel Princess. I just played it this past weekend. So happy to get Zombie Princess. My daughter Avra is so stoked about that. And then Jay also hooked me up with Haunted Mouse. I don't know too much about it, but it's another trick-taking game that looks like it has a pretty cute theme. I got these cool gold points, Go Zombie Princess. I got a promo Little Mermaid card to go with it, and some like mini expansion for Haunted Mouse as well. So some really cool stuff from Bezier Games. They never disappoint. Next we have Brave and Bold. Now this is a prototype. I don't believe this game is available yet. It comes from a company called Resurrection Games. What's in this box, I wish I had the time to open this and show you, but it's a Lex Luthor and a Superman-like compartment, and you pull them out and each player gets one. So it's a bag builder, like 1v1 battle, and they're making more, and each box will have like 2 different characters, but it's like a really cool, just go look it up online. It's a really cool setup where, like I said, this box will have like, it has these 2 boxes in it. You pull out the Superman one, you open that up, that's your player board, has all your components, and there's the Lex Luthor one. So they're going to be putting out more characters. I'm not exactly sure when this comes out, but it looks like my kind of game. I like superheroes. I like bag, deck, pool building. So this is a bag builder. Check it out, Brave and Bold. Next, I met Chris over at Moon Saga Workshop. I haven't gone to do any collabs with him before, but he hooked me up with this game that I've had my eye on for a bit. It's called, well, I think it's called Aya. I don't exactly know how to say that name. If in the comments, feel free to mock me for not knowing how to say it. This is by Igor Knopp and Andre Taruya, who made Kokeshi, which is a game that I absolutely love. I'm working on a Rip Up the Rules for that. This is probably something you can expect to see on my channel soon, because this is just a really cool, elegant looking game for Moon Saga Workshop. That's Aya, I don't know, something. Trigger warning, this is a deluxe version of a game that, this is not part of my Origins haul. This came from a Canadian designer out in Quebec, and they're called G1 ID Games, and it's really cool. Again, I wish I had the time to open these all up and show you, but instead of a die, it has like this metal bullet that you roll, and it's like kind of a memory deduction type game. I haven't gotten to play it yet, but I am looking forward to giving that a shot. Always love checking out stuff from Canadian publishers. Okay. there was a big cavern wire booth at Origins. If you were there, you would have noticed it. It had a whole bunch of publishers showing their stuff in that booth, but Cavern Wire specifically, they have put out some cool games. I got to meet Bobby Powell, who made Vine, hooked me up with the expansion. Just a really neat, cool looking game. Now, I want to say something quickly because whenever I go to conventions, I often have this idea, like, I'm going to do this. One thing I love at conventions is having the opportunity to get designers that give me their games to sign the games. Besides Two Rooms and a Boom and the werewolf things, which I remembered at the very last moment as I was leaving for the airplane, I got those signed. Like the literal designer of this game handed me these, and I forgot to get him to sign it. So I'm pretty bummed about that because I think it's really cool. Maybe people have different opinions. Some people don't like it, but I love, like, my copy of Above and Below Haunted, my copy of Fliptoons. Like, lots of those games are signed. So I feel pretty bummed that these are still in shrink wrap and then signed. But this looks like a really cool tile laying game. The design just looks really clean and elegant, and I'm excited to dig into Vine from Cavern Wire. Carnuta was on my Origins top anticipated games list. I have still not had a chance to play it. As you can see, it's still in shrink wrap. This is a really cool game from Repos that was in my Asmodee bag when I went to the Asmodee event. So pretty cool that I had my anticipated list and I ended up randomly getting a copy. Okay, last night games. I am a big fan, and I think I'll be doing an unboxing of these games. But at Last Night Games, I messaged them before Origins because I said, hey, I'd love to meet you at Origins. And then they're like, hey, why don't we just send you some games? I was like, sure. And so all of a sudden, they send me a box of 4 games, which I actually forgot about. And then I got home from Origins, and I was like, oh, yeah, these guys sent me games. So I got to meet them there. It's 2 brothers named Nate and Jake Jenny, who they run the company, they do all the production, they design the games. So far I've played Honeycomb Hustle and Panda Royale, and they're both just awesome games. There's a lot of similarity between the design and a lot of the mechanics and effects in these games. I like it when companies make kind of a series of games where there's some consistency and continuity, and they definitely do that. So that's Last Night Games. I am now a huge fan. This is First Giants. I know basically nothing about this game. This was also in my Asmodee bag from that event. At the Asmodee event, I got to play some other cool games. I didn't play this, but it's by Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert. It looks like it's got a dinosaur, and is that a narwhal? I don't know. It's got some big animals on it. It's got some cards in the back. I'm sure it's cool. Asmodee puts out a lot of cool stuff. I just haven't had a chance to look into it yet, but of course I will. Estate Raise the Realm. Now this is funny because some of you might have seen my how to play video for this on Game Boy Geek last year. It was my first official how to play I've done for a publisher before. And the funny thing though is I was using a prototype that they needed me to send back, so I sent it back. So at Origins, they're like, do you even own a copy of this game? And I was like, I don't. And so they hooked me up. And again, another instance of me taking a game from the designer and forgetting to get them to sign it. Catherine and Devin are among some of the coolest people I've met in the board game industry so far. If you haven't heard of this, it's a really cool indie design. Estate Raise the Realm, would recommend. Grand Central Skyport, this one, actually I didn't realize it was coming from 25th Century, but it randomly showed up in the mail. I'm sad I haven't gotten a chance to try this yet because it looks so cool. And the components are cool, the setup is cool. It's this hot air balloon game where you're going around this like central board. It was on my top 10 anticipated games for Origins last year, but I still hadn't had a chance to try it out. But 25th Century are legendary, and they sent me a copy, so I can't wait to try that out. And over at Eagle Gryphon Games, Eagle Gryphon is one of my favorite companies in the whole world. They gave me, I'm going to mess up this name, La Pâtissier Rococo. I don't know, I'm trying to say that all French and cool or whatever. Rococo is a really cool game that they put out. Now this is a new kind of spin-off game in that world, and it looks beautiful. Eagle Gryphon basically never misses, so this is really cool. Thankful for Travis over, he used to work for Queen Games, now he works for Eagle Gryphon, who hooked me up. Now, some of you have probably seen All Play talking about Container. They said they made this new edition release of Container. They sent me this expansion. This is empty, it's in here. The expansion came with all these cool metal boats. This is a really cool game it's this like really interesting economic system. My first game of this, I just lost so badly. It's this tough game. You got to make some tight decisions and make good decisions, and apparently I didn't know how to do that. But it's got really cool components, and one of the coolest things is, they sent me this like literally like enormous, I don't know if I can even get this. This isn't all gonna fit, but this enormous playmat that goes with it. I don't know what to do with this. I'm running out of space on my table here, but container from All Play, that will be showing up on the channel sometime soon for sure. This is Gray Matter Games, I believe they're called. They reached out to me on TikTok and they said, hey, we got this cool game called Cross the Line. And I was like, I'd love to check it out. One thing that's cool is my friend Grant Lyon actually wrote a bunch of the cards for it. It's kind of like Wavelength if you've played Wavelength. I've enjoyed playing this with my daughters a few times already, but if you've played Wavelength, it's kind of like Wavelength, but more like on a personal level where it's kind of like about people and getting to know people rather than just kind of like ideas or information. So that's actually a really cool game. This box is not a real game box. This is a prototype. If you ever start a board game YouTube channel, you'll start to get some prototypes like this. But this game is really cool. Right now I'm working on the Kickstarter preview for this. It's called Heirs to Olympus. It's a cool skirmish game. And what's cool is it's not like ultra heavy, but it's still got like that cool depth. You get to be one of 4 heroes like Hercules or one of the other ones, Achilles, or one of those other ones like that. And you're fighting to, destroy the relic of the other heroes and appease the gods and fight for immortality. So Heirs to Olympus looks really cool. This one just got sent to me. I don't know too much about it. This is called Franchise. It's a sports game. I'm not the biggest sports guy, but the theme looks kind of fun and whimsical within that space. It's from Lurk's Lessons Games. And so the setup is it's a deck building game, but you're like managing a sports franchise and trying to be the best franchisee in the world. So there's that. Oh, we got to get through this. And okay, I'm such a huge fan of Karma Games. If you've watched my channel for a bit, you've seen lots of Karma Games stuff show up, like Millennia, Peninsula, lots of stuff. This is their new game called Wildscape. You can see the back. This is made by Sebastian Bleasdale, who's the guy who made the Keyflower series. He's a legendary designer. I'm working on the Rip Up the Rules for this right now as we speak. And it's just like a really cool, like it's based in Africa and you're a naturalist trying to restore the environment and you get to get all these animals. Anyways, it's a beautiful production. And as always, Karma Games, their production, their inserts, the way they do things, all of it is really fantastic. So I would definitely recommend this game. And also, I would love to teach it to you once I have the Rip Up the Rules for it posted online. I made really good friends with the Pierre Belvedere people. Along the journey, I have discovered that, there are lots of cool publishers out there, but every once in a while you come across some publishers who just are like, believe in you and are like, I want to be part of the journey with you. Instantly connected with the people at Pierre Belvedere. They've just been like, what can we send you? What can we send you? And they're part of, I don't know how to say it, but it's like Dre Magier. I don't know. Anyways, the guy, Eric, had watched my video that I made with Claudia with a Chance of Meeples, where we talked about some of our favorite games to play with our kids. And he's like, hey, we got a bunch of games like that. Can I send it over? You can play it with your kids. So, and we've got Roller Coaster, which we've played. You can clearly see it's open. And my daughters and I had a blast playing that. The Twisted Spooky Night, we haven't played yet, but we will play it soon because these games are right up my daughter's alley. And we're almost at the end. Button Kingdoms. This game, I haven't gotten to play it yet, but it looks awesome. And I just saw some stuff posted about it online that makes it look even more intriguing. I think Tabletop Vibes did a video, Better Mood Board Games did a video that looked really cool. The components look cool, the theme looks awesome, but it's a deck builder where there's kind of some like negotiation and bluffing going on in the middle, where there's this market where you're getting your new cards from, and so you kind of manipulate that and try to trick people into paying too much or whatever for cards. Anyways, Button Kingdoms from Around the Stump Games looks awesome. I keep saying that. I keep saying looks cool, looks awesome. I gotta come up with some new words. Okay, I am also a huge fan of Garfield Games. Now, this isn't by Garfield Games. This is by Arcus Games. And if you watched one of my other monthly updates, I've talked about how Shem Phillips is part of Arcus Games. It's this other publisher out of New Zealand. There are a few people putting it together. And I'm working right now on the Rip Up the Rules for Dreadful Dragons, which is from Arcus Games. And Shem Phillips emailed me and said, hey, well, Bobby Hill, who is a legendary designer who made Hadrian's Wall and The Anarchy and other games, has this new game called Orbit Star coming out. And this game looks sick. If you can see that picture on the back, it looks awesome. And Bobby Hill makes incredible games. So they've asked me to make the rip up the rules for this too. Again, Garfield, Shem Phillips in particular, has just been one of those publishers who I've just been like, they believed in me and they're just like, we want to be part of the journey. We want to support you. And I can't say thank you enough to some awesome legends like that. So this is a big, heavy box. Speaking of big, heavy boxes, here's the last one. It was on the bottom for a reason. This box is literally 1,000 pounds. This is called Mythic Wars, The End of Gods and Kingdoms. This is a prototype, so probably I think there's some placeholder art on the front. This box is like full of some epic, glorious miniatures and tons of stuff. My girls, whenever a game like this comes in, I open it up with my daughters and we just have fun playing with all the pieces because it's so epic. So at some point I'm going to be doing some content on this. I don't think this one's coming out for a while. I think they're still working out some kinks in the background, but I'm going to be taking a look at it and hopefully showcasing it on the channel sometime soon. Anyways, those are the games, the billions of games that have come in this month. Let's get out of the studio. One of the things I really like to do in these monthly updates is shout out other content creators, partially because I like sharing cool content creators with people, but also because people like Alex from Board Game Co. and other content creators have been so helpful and encouraging to me and have given me shout outs that have been really helpful. And I just think that's one of the cool things about the board game community is that it is such a community where the vibes are good and people support each other. And I always want my channel to be a channel that does that. So come hang out with me here in my living room and I'll talk about that and the important life lesson that I'm kind of been thinking through post Origins. It's tough because there are so many content creators I interact with nowadays and so many of them are so awesome and so good to me. And so first of all, I want to say I shared a room at Origins. 4 of us packed into the room. It was Zazu X2, Adam from Tabletop Vibes, and Don from Board Games First. And so those guys are legends. But specifically at Origins this past month, and I don't want to start listing off other content creators I hung out with Origins because inevitably I'll just miss a whole bunch and I'll feel bad. There were like just too many. And that's kind of a bummer because I could go on like listing 100 of them. Maybe sometime I should do that after a convention, just list 100 of them. But Jamie from the Secret Cabal, first of all, right when I started off with Game Boy Geek, he just gave me such a warm welcome. And to be welcomed that warmly by someone that you've looked up to for a while and who you've listened to their podcast and just respected so much in the industry is so cool. And whenever I've needed help or advice or whatever, I reach out and I know that he is always going to be so willing to help out and encourage me. And I'm just incredibly grateful for Jamie. So big shout out to him. And the other two, I mentioned them earlier, is Jay Bernardo and Jason Levine. Same with these two guys. Right when I hopped in last year, both of them were just so gung-ho to introduce me to people, to like mention me to other publishers, to just help me however they can. And they're so good. Jason actually has become a pretty good friend. We chat on the phone some like the odd time, and he's just a good dude. Both of them have helped me meet some people and make some really meaningful connections. Jay Bernardo is one of the funniest, most hilarious, like good times to hang out with. Jason Levine's a blast too. And this is a really like strange, like unexpected thing, but one night at 1:30 in the morning at Origins, Jason Levine and one of his buddies and I went across the street to Late Night Pizza. And Columbus is a busy town at night. It's a college town. People are everywhere. And, there are a lot more details to the story, but essentially we sit down, we eat our pizza, and toward the end, this guy who probably had been drinking or something came up and tried to pick a fight with me. Now, I'm like a pretty passive Canadian. I'm also not like a big guy, so I'm just kind of trying to brush it off and just be like, okay, see you later, dude. I have never felt like someone's had my back more in my life than Jason Levine. Jason Levine stood up for me right away. Like it was crazy. And yeah, I don't know. I just am really grateful for some of these really cool friendships like that. So those are a few people I want to shout out. And last but not least, here's something I've been thinking about. And a lot of this is thanks to my wife because she's better at introspection and reading blogs and those types of things that bring about meaningful change. But I came back from Origins, and of course, I was exhausted. And um, she had just noticed that I was struggling with patience and with a few things. My first couple of days back, I was feeling a bit stressed. And she'd shared with me this story that she'd been reading about this guy who goes and speaks at conferences, and he'll be gone for a few days, and he comes back, and he just has a tough time with reentry. Now, I'm someone, especially when I was younger, who just feels like, I can just go, go, go. I do have a lot of energy in general. So I don't like to think about, like reentry or being gentle with myself or whatever. But my wife really made me think, and she was like, well, this guy that speaks at these conferences is talking about when he gets back, he just needs to be really gentle with himself and try to re-enter in a gentle way and not have high expectations. And I realized I came back from Origins being like, I was just gone for 5 days. I got to make some content. I got to work. I got to do all this stuff. Got to make up for lost time with my daughters. And my wife was kind of just like, Ryan, you got to chill. And I don't know if I'm very good at being like realistic or honest with myself in those ways. I'd like to think I'm still just 17 with an unlimited tank of energy, that I can just do anything, that I can go, go, go and take over the world. And a few things are true. One is that I'm getting older. Another is that, I have kids now. I've got demands, like lots is going on in life. And the third is that I'm not invincible. I'm not a superhero. I'm a human that needs to sometimes remember to like slow down and chill out. And so maybe you've had an experience like this, whether it's going to a board game convention and coming back, or some kind of heightened experience, or putting out a lot of energy and you're having this incredible, like, dopamine filled experience. And then you come back and you have a tough time with whatever it's patience or stress or whatever it is. So I'm learning to try to do a better job with that. And thanks to my wife, I'm really thinking about that. And I share that partially just because I like giving behind the scenes looks at what's going on with the channel, but also maybe that's an encouragement to you when you come back from some kind of event. Maybe you're noticing that about yourself. Maybe you notice that you are feeling the pinch, you're feeling the pressure, and the last thing you want to do is slow down and chill out. But I think it's probably actually what I need, and perhaps it's what you might need as well. Anyways, thank you so much for being a part of the community here at How I Roll, for being a part of what I'm up to, for cheering me on. All your encouragement means the world to me. There's always room at the table for you, and I look forward to seeing any and all of you at a convention, or chatting online, or on Board Game Arena, or wherever we bump into each other. Thanks so much for watching.